Hi, so now that we've got the yard generally graded out, we got our basins in place, there's a few more little things we got to do before we can finish it off, put in the hardscape, put in the mulch and the gravel paths. One of those is making sure all of our infrastructure is in place. Now we're going to have a water feature over here, a little fountain, and that's going to run off of a AC pump, so we need some electricity to run that pump. Therefore I got to run an outlet out here, so I have an electrician friend who's going to help me hook up. There's outlets in this little house here we can extend, put a switch over here, and I've had to trench some conduit underground here. So I got the conduit right here, and I had to go underneath this slab of concrete here in front of this window. So I got one of these little tunneling kits. It's just a little nozzle that you glue onto your PVC and hook up to the hose, and it worked pretty well. I had to kind of attack it from both sides, and you know, it's a little messy, flings mud everywhere, but I got the job done. And then I finished off my trench here, and now I just got to wait for that water to soak in before I can do any more work. Alright, so it's been another day, and the trench is dried up for the electricity. So I've just got to lay some more conduit in that and then run the electricity. But first, I want to get my fountain set in. So this is the fountain that we're going to be using, and then you can see where that hoop is right there. There's going to be kind of a basin around the bottom of it that will be actually filled with Mexican beach pebbles, kind of large stones, and the water's just going to kind of drip onto the pebbles. So there won't be an actual pool in the bottom, which runs into all kinds of maintenance problems. It'll just be kind of dripping off of this pedestal into the water. I've got a liner. I was kind of searching for the right kind of basin, but I couldn't find one that was big enough for the right shape. So I just bought a liner, and I'm going to build the shape out of the dirt and then put the liner in there. So I'm going to get that set before I put the rest of the electricity in, so I know where it is. Okay, so there we go. I've got the general shape of the pond basin laid out. As you can see in the previous clip, I was using my water level over there to make sure that the rim of this basin is as high or higher than the porch over here. Because I don't want, when we're catching water off the roof and we're filling this lower basin, I don't want any of that water to enter the fountain, because it would bring dirty water into the fountain. I don't want that. So making sure it's higher than our exit point, which is about ½ inch lower than the level of this porch right here. I can make sure that the water will never reach the top of the lip of that basin. So the water inside the basin will stay in with the pond liner, and the water we collect in this basin will be able to soak into the ground. So now I've laid in the liner for the pond. As you can see in the video, I put down a layer of sand first. I just had some all-purpose sand just to protect the liner from any rocks or twigs that are in the ground. And then I also put down a couple layers of landscape fabric I had just for extra protection. And this is actually a double layer of liner. Since it's such a big liner, I don't need the whole thing. I just need to overlap a little bit. So I think this will work here. Next step is to install the pump box, which I've made just out of this Rubbermaid container. Put a bunch of holes in it, and that'll provide a nice easy access for the pump. It's going to sit down in its low spot, and that will pump water through the fountain. It'll also make it easier. The pebbles will just sit on top of this, and so we need to service the pump. You can just move the pebbles aside, open up the top, and get in there. So I'm going to get the pump set up and set it in the box and see if it works. Alright, so I got the pump put together, and I've got the fountain put together too. I've also leveled the top of this fountain because I want the water to spill over the edge of this basin evenly. So I've actually just used some pennies and dimes and nickels to get the height right on that. Sit on this block so that it's raised up out of the water a little bit. I don't want this base to be in the water too much. And then I've got the pump put together. I've got a little valve on here that'll help me control the flow so I can get the right look and sound and flow through the fountain. So all that's left now is to put some water in there and test it, make sure it all works before I fill it with gravel. I'm just going to use my extension cord since I don't have my electricity hooked up yet, but we'll see how it works. Okay, there we go. It's working pretty well. You can see it needs a little bit more fine tuning on the leveling. It's all coming off that side, but we can do that when we put the rocks in there. So I think that's about the level the water is going to be. It's well above the pump in here. And so this is going to be filled with Mexican beach pebbles. They're kind of a black pebble. And so you won't ever see the water, but there will be this basin of it to give the pump plenty of water. I think it looks pretty nice. So next steps are to finish putting in the electricity, run the outlet here so I can just plug the pump right into the outlet, and then filling it up with pebbles and finishing it off. I think it'll look really nice. Alright, so I've got the fountain filled up with the pebbles now. I put some kind of rounded gravel on the bottom, some pea gravel to protect the liner, and then just some filler stones that I've found just from digging up in the yard here. And that's underneath these black stones. It's called Mexican beach cobbles. And I think it's going to look pretty nice. We're going to need to get more of these black stones to kind of spill over the edge of this, and we'll have to trim the liner, tuck it in, and do a little bit of a border with some plants. But for now this will work. I got the fountain in place. It's working pretty well. So next step is to run electricity. That way I can plug this in right here next to that tile and get it all buried and hidden. Alright, I got the job finished. We got a switch, and that turns on the water feature over here. Like I said before, there's a bit more that needs to be done to really finish it off, but I got the edge of the liner tucked in. We're going to cover that with more of these Mexican pebbles, Mexican cobbles, and then we can plant some nice border of plants around it. We've got the power right there to run under the ground, filled in the trench. So it's going to add a really nice feature to the backyard here. So I think that's about it for this video. I'm excited to keep working on the project. Now's the time where we get to kind of button everything up and make it look really nice. So I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you want to support the channel, go out to patreon.com/JesseGrimes and become a patron. I'll see you next time.